Guys, it's Sarah and today is Booklist Thursday. This is a video series I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library. And every Thursday we bring you some sort of list or book topic that we feel like talking about for the week. And this week we are doing our 5-star predictions follow-up, where we are going to talk about all the books that we picked for our last round of 5-star predictions, tell you what our final thoughts and feelings were, what we rated them. And we also worked with Tia from Tia and All the Books this time around. So I will leave both Lindsay and Tia linked down below. So make sure you go check them out, see what they thought of their rounds. And this time we did Book of the Month books. So we each picked 5 books that we have received from Book of the Month because we all do subscribe to it, and thought we would see if they were going to be 5-star predictions. Okay, I'm going to go in order that I read them. So the first one that I picked up was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This follows Poppy and Alex. They are best friends who find themselves in situations where they end up traveling together every summer. And it's become a tradition for them. Every summer they take some sort of trip together. It doesn't matter where they are, what they're doing in their lives, who they're with. It doesn't matter. They go on a vacation together every single summer until one summer something happens on their vacation and it kind of ruins their friendship. And they end up barely even speaking anymore. Poppy finds herself in a situation where she is really desperately needing some happiness because she's not finding much. And someone asks her, well, when's the last time you felt really, truly happy? And she realized the last time she felt truly happy was when she was on vacation with Alex. So she contacts him and says, can we please try this again? And he agrees. And so they take another vacation together. And you kind of see what happens. Now, one thing I really, really liked about this was that you go back and forth between current day, what's happening right now, vacation that they're taking right now, and then you will go back to a previous vacation that they took, and it kind of goes in order. So it's like the first vacation they took, and then you get into the now, and then you get into the second vacation they took, and where they were and what happened and what they were doing. So it really showed how their friendship grew over the years as well. And I really, really, really loved it. I really did. It was so much fun. I liked going back and forth and kind of seeing how things progressed over the years. I thought that was really interesting, and it kind of helped break it up a little bit. It helped give more context to their relationship. And one thing I really like about Emily Henry's writing is that she writes characters and adults that have conversations. Yes. Like, thank you. There's a couple times here and there probably where they try to avoid a conversation or whatever, but it doesn't last long. And she will write characters that are like, no, don't walk away from this. We're going to solve this. Like, come here. Let's talk it out. Let's figure this out. And I love that. I'm like, thank you. That's what I want. I don't always want, people who have issues and then the issues just keep getting worse and worse because they refuse to have a conversation about it. This one, and Beach Read, was the same way. She had characters that were like, you're not walking away from this. Come explain things to me. So that's one thing that I 100% love about her writing. And this was just so much fun. It's a perfect vacation read, 100%. So if you haven't read it yet and you're going on vacation, high recommend on this one. I gave it 5 stars. Next one I read, we actually did a big group read on Instagram with this one, which was a lot of fun, and that is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. So some of you guys joined us in reading this. This is the one that all 3 of us read together, and it was a lot of fun doing that. So this one is a historical fiction that is a dual timeline. So you get a present day and then you get a historical perspective as well, and it follows 2 women in London. The historical aspect of it is that a woman named Nella is working a apothecary that provides women with potions or elixirs or poisons that will help get rid of abusive men in their lives. Men who are holding them down, holding them back, abusing them, whatever the case may be. She doesn't really ask questions. They can come to her discreetly and they can get something that will cause these men to die without it being linked back to them. It will look like natural causes. So That is the historical perspective. She also takes on a little bit of an apprentice, which was interesting. We get her perspective as well. And then you also, you see Nella growing up a little bit as well. There's a little bit of flashbacks, kind of how she got to the point where she is right now, what caused her to want to do this type of thing, and then her helping other women as well. And then in the present timeline, we follow Caroline, who is in London on a vacation. She comes across this bottle on the beach, and it has a really interesting etching in it. And she is wondering where this bottle came from, if there's a history in it. She's really curious about it. So she ends up making a friend who is a librarian, and they are both kind of looking into this, and the librarian's helping her and, finding all these things, and they're kind of piecing some things together and kind of piecing together Nella's story. So it was really, really, really interesting. Okay, so this is not a long book. This is actually pretty short, but so much was crammed in here, and it felt necessary. Like, it didn't feel rushed or trying to do too much or anything. It felt like perfect. And I liked both timelines a lot. I liked where things were going. There were surprises in here that I didn't see coming, which was fantastic. There were some things happening with Caroline that gave me so many feelings, and I just really liked it. I liked it a lot. I loved it. I'm not going to say I liked it. I loved it. I did give it 5 stars. It was a 5-star read, especially the ending was awesome and left some questions. And I was like, wait a minute. So there were, definitely a lot of things to talk about and to ponder in here. And I thought it was fantastic. And the writing was beautiful. Next one that I read is The Push by Ashley Audrain. And this one, okay. This is a heavy book. The topics in here are very heavy. This one follows generations of women in this family who are mothers, who kind of have no business being mothers, to be honest with you. Our main character, her name is Blythe, and she is married, wants to have children desperately. They have a daughter, and then their daughter ends up showing just some interesting signs. There are just some things that her daughter either says or does that Blythe is questioning. And it's one of those things where something's going on there, but are we going to be in denial because never my child type thing? Or I can explain this away, like she shows this behavior, but it's because of this, so it's fine. Like, it's definitely that type of thing. And yeah, so you see Blythe struggle with parenting this child. Now, we also get flashbacks of Blythe's mother and her grandmother as well, and how they raised their daughters in the world, and things that were happening to them and things that they did and said and all that stuff, which tends to explain a lot about why Blythe is the way that she is, and explains the relationship that she has with her daughter as well. And I don't want to give too much else away. So it's kind of an exploration. I will say I didn't really enjoy getting, I don't know, like the mother and the grandmother. I understand why it's there, but it tended to take me out of the story a little bit. I was more interested in Blythe and her daughter and what was going on there. But yeah, I don't know. So it's so interesting because I don't know. I don't want to give anything away, so I won't. There are so many trigger warnings in here, though. I can't even list them all. Hang on, let me try. So definitely postpartum depression, definitely miscarriage, suicide, self-harm, infidelity, death of a child, like so many things. So I think I might have gotten them all, but man, it was heavy. It was a heavy read. I did not fly through this by any means. But it was also incredibly interesting, and there's just this, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain. And I feel like a lot of people who have read this, they have the same issues. Like, I can't explain it. You just have to read it to understand. But yeah, so just if you decide to pick this up, I would go into it, number one, knowing what the warnings are and just being prepared for a very, very heavy, sad story, because that's what this is. But it was fantastic. It really was. It was very, very good. I gave it 4 stars. For some reason, it did, like when I finished it, didn't feel like a 5-star read, but definitely a solid 4. Okay, let's get into the next one. Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is a fantasy book that follows a magical school, and the school literally tries to kill the students there. It's a very dangerous place to be, but students do go there to hone their magic, learn how to do things, all that stuff. Has my name written all over it, right? I DNF'd it. I got 130 pages in and I could not go on. I literally couldn't. I don't think it was written well. I was confused through so much of it. I found myself reading an entire paragraph where I did not know what they were talking about. It was like, I think it was something about getting into the school, and it was like, but of course, if you trade this and this and this, then you can get this. And I'm like, I don't know what any of that is. What are you talking about? And I felt like the way this was written was we were thrown into it and we were expected to know about this world. We were expected to know what all this stuff meant. We were expected to know these things. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no clue. I spent a lot of time thinking, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that means. I don't know why this school exists. Like, I don't understand why they have to go to the school. Why don't they have other options? I don't mind being thrown into a story, but I need some background. I need some explanations here and there onto why things are the way that they are. And I felt like we did not get that at all. And I was over 100 pages in. This isn't a long book either. So, when I'm almost halfway through, or like getting to be halfway through, and you're not giving me anything like that, you're losing me. And she lost me. She did. Like, I also didn't like the main character at all. I thought she was very standoffish. She was very rude to people who she was pretending to be friends with, basically, but it was for her own personal gain, which I guess I got that kind of everyone was like that. But I don't know. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. And it was so unfortunate, like to the point where I was so sad, and I keep thinking maybe I'll give it another try. Maybe I'll pick it up again in a couple years or whatever. Maybe I should hang on to it, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if I will or not, because I could not wrap my head around it. And it wasn't written in a way that I could do that. So I didn't like that. I didn't like feeling, I didn't like reading entire passages where I had no idea what she was talking about, because it was never explained. So, yeah. So this was a DNF. Definitely not a 5-star. It's really unfortunate. Okay, last, but most definitely not least, Final Girls by Riley Sager. Oh, Riley Sager. Okay. So I loved this. And this follows our main character, Quincy, who is a final girl. And what that means is that she is the sole survivor of some sort of massacre or group attack where other people around her, including the person who did this, is dead, and she is the sole survivor of this attack. It happened at a cabin in the woods when she was there celebrating with some friends from college. They were just having a nice, fun weekend there together, and someone came into the cottage and killed everybody except for her. Like slasher movie type things happening here. Okay, so Quincy, this is years later now, and Quincy is living in New York with her boyfriend. They live together. She enjoys baking. She's actually really good at it. She's built a business on baking and running a blog for baking. That was kind of something she found out was a stress relief for her, which she really needed. And she's just living her life. Now, there are a couple other final girls who had made headlines that were in the news. It's known. And one of them reaches out to her and actually reaches out to the other one as well. And she is trying to like, you know, kind of get them to come together and be there and support and blah, 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 and all these things. Quincy is a little bit like, I'm okay. You know, I'm pretending to be okay, basically is what it is. And something ends up happening to one of those final girls. And it's devastating to Quincy. And it just kind of goes from there. So I don't want to say anything else because I went into this pretty blind. That's really all I knew, is that something happened to one of the final girls. And there's like a whole bunch of aftermath after that. And think that's things that start happening. So I don't want to say more because I went into it only knowing that. And I think that's the way to do it, especially with Riley Sager's books. But I can tell you, I had so many different theories throughout this entire book. And I was just like, maybe it's this, and maybe this is what's going on. And maybe this happens and then blah, blah, blah. He kept me guessing until the end, which is what he does. It's what he does. I had so many different theories. I had no idea which way it was going to end up going. He drops little hints here and there on things that make you think something else. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, the man's a genius. So I loved it. My jaw was on the floor at the end. Loved it, loved it, loved it. 5 stars, 100%. Riley is becoming one of my favorite authors easily. This is the 3rd book of his that I've read. And I can't wait to read more. So Riley Sager, yes, please. 5 stars. Okay, guys, that is going to be it for this round of 5-star predictions. Super excited. So make sure you go check out Lindsay and Tia and see what their final results were on the books that they picked and see what they thought of theirs. And we will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.